Welcome, everybody, to the Lone Wolf Show. I'm the Lone Wolf, and you're watching www.witchcrafttv.online. And you are watching the special rendition of the WitchCon presenters. And yes, once again, I have another presenter of WitchCon in 2026, starting February 20th on WitchCon, the largest online conglomeracy of witches in the world. So right after this intro, we'll have our guest. So stay tuned. Darci Vélez, I heard a rumor that you're going to be presenting at WitchCon. Is that true?
Yes, it is. It's going to be, I think how many years has it been going on? So as long as it's been going on, I've been presenting at it. So yes, I'm very happy to be on the WitchCon lineup again this year.
So you've done WitchCon more than 1 year. How many years have you gone? Have you lost count?
Yeah, I've done it every year since it started. So I've been with them for, I think, is 4 or 5 years. So as long as it's been going on, I've been doing the presenting on the show. Yeah, I've been very blessed to have that.
So the thing about WitchCon is that once you sign up for the classes, you have access to the complete archive of every class that I think they've ever presented.
Yeah.
So not only when they sign up for your class, they can also check out the other classes that you've done previous years. What are some of the classes that you had previously on WitchCon?
I have previously done psychic self-defense. And then I did, let me see, I did the Witch's Pyramid 1 year, and I've done how to ritual incenses 1 year. Um, I've done so many, I don't honestly remember. But psychic self-defense is one of my favorites. It's actually a class that I teach away from WitchCon as well. And when I had a coven, that was one of the main things that I taught any of my members prior to teaching them anything about magic.
Well, I'm definitely intrigued by two of the classes already. The Witch's Pyramid, I'm a big fan of, and if I'm saying it correctly by memory, to know, to will, to dare, to keep silent. Did I say that right?
Yes, it is. And not many people in this generation know about that pyramid. So I think that was last year's show. Last year or the year before? No, last year was incense. The year before was the Witch's Pyramid. But a lot of people don't realize that when you share your magic, you're destroying it. When you're sharing it, you're basically sharing your knowledge. So that was something I felt really important about teaching a couple of years ago, just because of all of the Instagram witches and the TikTok witches and the Facebook and putting their spells out there and basically just putting a target on anybody's back that practices the craft, because somebody sees one witch do it, they're going to assume we're all doing it.
So it's safe to say that if somebody if you're having an argument with somebody, particularly like media, social media, and they say, I'm gonna make a doll out of you and do bad things to you. So basically, when they say that, they're just full of crap, because so somebody that would do that, there's no power to it because you're sharing your thought forms with them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
That's exactly right. Because in my training, I practiced all my life, but I really had my initial training to where I was given a lot more guidance spiritually with my gifts and my abilities. that was one of the biggest things that I was taught was you have that pyramid, and essentially it's more than a three-way pyramid, it's an 11-way pyramid. So to know, you have to know your magic, you have to know what you're doing, you have to know how to defend yourself, you have to know where magic is formed from, you have to know that magic is of the earth and it's not to be shared. You have to will it. So you have to be courageous enough to do the work, no matter what the outcome be, no matter if it's popular or unpopular. You have to be silent. You have to know that those secrets are given to you from, be it the deities or the gods that you work with, or the orishas that you work with, or the spirits, or the great ancestors, or even from your teachers that give you that. And just really, those are things to really understand. And a lot of people don't understand that. You're just nullifying your magic by putting it out there, and putting it out there too, not explaining why you use this magic, how you use this magic, when to use the magic. It doesn't do any good because you're just showing a quick snap of a finger. What are you doing with that? How do you dispose of it? How do you, there's so many things that they just don't, that level of training of the witch's pyramid teaches that a lot of people don't realize.
I definitely think that the witch's pyramid is a great formula to teach magic with,
Hmm.
and it's a lot older too. It's the
Yeah.
witch's pyramid is just kind of a rewording of, because they call it something different. They call it the uh, the pyramid of the magus. They've called it, and I
Hmm.
think it comes from Egyptology. I think maybe Levi. Uh,
Eliphas Levi.
right? Didn't that the witch's pyramid formula comes from his works? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, it's mentioned in his book History of Magic, as well as Transcendental Magic, I believe. But yeah, it goes back to the Middle Ages. So it's a very old form of magic. And even in one of the books that I'm rereading, it's the Book of Grimoires. It's in this book as well. But even in this book, it talks about in the very introduction where magic is sacred, it is silent, and it's not something to be shared with everybody because not everybody understands it.
Hmm. Right on. So another class that you have done in the past for WitchCon is the you said psychic defense.
Psychic self defense, yes. That
Psychic.
is psychic self defense. That was something that my former spiritual teacher, when I first started with her, it was one of the main things that I had to learn. And the basis comes from Dion Fortune's book, Psychic Self Defense, that was written back in 1933. So just really going into the older and understanding what it is, how you can be attacked by liminal forces, by unseen forces. You can even be attacked by somebody is just throwing something at you on the street because they're jealous of you, because they hate you. Many practitioners in our community, and I'm not going to say the name of my friend who deals with this shit all the time because they're jealous of him. um they don't understand. And then psychic self-defense comes from elementals. If you're out in the wilderness and you're doing magic and you don't know how to defend yourself from these forces, you can be possessed, you can be absorbed, you can, there's all types of things that can happen to you in paranormal investigations. That's a big one. You have to really know how to shield and block yourself, what types of, how to prepare yourself for magic. I know for me, I just started doing paranormal investigation, even though I'm a channeler of spirits. But you just have to go in, you have to prepare your body a certain way, you have to prepare your mind. And it's really important in this day and age with everything going on that you don't allow other people's memories or thoughts to take over yours, or allow other people's guilt. Um, it was the high priest of my former spiritual teacher. He wrote a book back in the 60s called How to Prevent Psychic Blackmail. And he called the mentality an altruistic mentality of people who try to force you to be guilty for their actions as opposed to value for value. So it's really huge for me on teaching psychic self-defense and making people aware that you are in control of your mind. And when it takes over by somebody else, you're giving that person that control to take over your mind. So it's really important.
When it comes to psychic self-defense,
Mm-hmm.
in order to have a self-defense of psychic self-defense, there has to be someone that's, well, attacking you psychically.
Yeah.
So what would be what would be like a quick exercise or something that you teach people to, well, to shield themselves from such attacks? Like, what would be, is it like the old, like, make a bubble around you, or like how does
Oh
this work?
no. No, I don't do bubbles. I I mean, I have it in my class because I have many different things that I teach people. But one tool that is used, and this goes back to the Middle Ages and to Agrippa, is the LBPR, the Lesser Banishing Pentagram Ritual. That's a really good one to just create your shield around yourself. But for any of the training I do, it's really just you have to learn how to control your mind. So if we go back to the witch's pyramid, to know, you have to know your mind. It's just another form of you know your space as above, so below. Um, and suggestion is one of the number one things that comes from psychic self defense. So allow yourself not to be taken in by another person's suggestion. Something I could use as example, and I dealt with it just last year with my old job being an assistant store manager for a retail company, is my store manager would constantly tell me I was a crappy leader, that I was a shitty manager. And she tried and tried and tried to drill that in me. And I would be like, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm a great manager because people come to me, they talk to me, they're not afraid of me. You have an issue with me. They would always get on me because I hold my cool in stressful situations. Well, you're not angry. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And I would talk to my husband, and he's so go and ask them, why do you need me to get angry? Angry is one word away from, is one level away from danger. So when you're allowing somebody to control those thoughts in you, you're giving them power. So it's just really shield yourself mentally, for vampiric um, attacks. I do a lot of garlic. I'll tell people to wear garlic. In my tradition of magic, we carry what's called the iron nails of protection. And it's something I actually sell and make, but it's coffin nails crossed and blessed with a very specific blessing. And then they're tied with red thread. And then that other blessing is put on those, and then they're carried in a red velvet bag. And that's a way to protect from the evil eye. And that's something that I give to a lot of my clients that are dealing with psychic attacks or anything like that. But iron is the metal that actually shields any and all magic. Fairy magic can't penetrate it. So it's definitely one of the bigger things that I give my clients. But then it's going to depend how they're being psychically attacked too, through hypnosis, through suggestion, through auto, through somebody using, say, a magical practitioner is psychically attacking somebody that they want to be their tool, um, I can't think of the word of it. I'd have to look in my workshop, but it's basically like a puppet. Like if you were pull the devil card in the tarot, you have a puppet being controlling other people, and that's going to be the person creating the havoc for the other person, if that makes sense.
So you're a natural psychic, clairvoyant, empath, and medium, and you read tarot cards. Been reading them professionally since 1998.
Uh-huh.
If somebody wanted to get a professional reading by you, do they go to a shop? Do you have a website? How do they get in touch with you?
I do my readings locally in Portland, Oregon at it's called Sinister Coffee and Creamery on 301 Southwest Morrison Street. It's in downtown Portland. I also do psychic readings at the psychic fair in Salem. I was there this last year. So I do events, and then I do events throughout my community as well. You can also reach me through my Facebook and schedule an appointment there. You can reach me through my shop at hecateshearth55.com and schedule a reading. I do FaceTime video readings as well as phone and group and party. So I do video as well as one-on-one readings.
So tell me about WitchCon. You've been presenting at WitchCon pretty much since its inception. How did you first
Mhm.
hear about it? How did you first hear about it? How did you first get involved in it? In WitchCon?
Well, I'm friends with the person who puts it all together. So I've been in the community on that side because I lived in Puerto Rico. So a huge part of my community is the East Coast over in the Salem area. So I'm friends with the creator of the event. So I was invited, and I just continue to support and push it out there. And I've been lucky enough to have the support and encouragement from Christian Day to continue my work and to be out to where I can be seen and be helpful to other people.
Have you published any books? Have you been in any publications at all?
Not yet. I had with my Temple of Diana, we did an anthology many years ago. We called it the Black Walnut Anthology. We did, I believe, 3 volumes of that to where it was multiple contributors to it. So I've written in that. I have a lot of articles on my website that I've written. I'm trying to actually focus on writing a book about psychic self defense. Um, but I just need to sit down and do it. But no, not yet. Nothing published.
Okay. How about as far as earth-based spirituality goes? When did you first have the I don't know if to say epiphany, but where did you first come to how did you come to terms with this is my spirituality that I'm gonna walk with in my life, and this is what moves me, and this is my inspiration. When did you
Mhm.
first come to the craft? How when did you first come to the craft, and how did it happen?
Um, well, I think it's always been a part of me, even when I was a child. But as a child, I was more afraid of it just because I wasn't born into a family that was magically inclined. The gifts were more given to me from my ancestors. And I went through, like anybody does, a spiritual journey and went through the Christian churches, went through the non denominational churches, went through the Kojic churches. And I would have to say, when I was in the Kojic church, which is typically an Afro American church led by spirit, that's when I really start to see spirits and started to really understand that I had a gift, but still I was afraid of it. And then I was with somebody who wasn't so great in my life that was into psychics, and had called a psychic hotline at one point, and I guess the lady said she wanted to talk to me, and she was telling me all this stuff, and I'm sitting here like, no, this isn't true. And in the back of my head, I'm like, shit, she's like dead on. But really, for me, it was when I moved to Puerto Rico. Um, I was in a transition. I was going through some really rough times. And one night I was just standing in my apartment because I had an apartment that faced the Atlantic Ocean. And literally, I lived in the middle of the triangle. And all of a sudden, I just saw this image of now what I know was Diana, just before me with a bow and arrow, with a stag next to her, with a moon behind her, just saying, "It is time that you remember who you are." Um, and from that point on, it was really that was my awakening. And I just really started doing rituals with no books, no guidance, just this. I was told in spirit, this is what you do. I believe the first ritual that she had guided me to do to really just kind of like hone into who I was to get 8 white candles, to get some rowan sticks, create a circle, sit in that circle and light the candles and meditate. And it was literally that ritual that woke so many memories up in me, and it took me back to visions that I had when I was a young child that I didn't even understand what they meant back then. But then I started to understand that those were initiations I had gone through in previous lives as a witch. So it was really just being in Puerto Rico, being around the Bermuda Triangle energy, the energy of the Orishas and the Santerias, that just really like blew everything up for me and really woke me up.
Do you have a particular patron god and goddess that you work with, walk with?
Yeah, I work with Hecate. I was initiated to her about 25 years ago, 25 years ago. And then I also work with Apollo and Diana. Those are my main ones. But I do work with Persephone as well. Um, so I work more with the darker goddesses. I have worked with Rhiannon before. I have worked with the Morgaine before. My ancestry is Black Irish, so there is some Celtic ancestry, but I lean more to the Italian Greco-Roman. I do work with some Middle Eastern magic as well. So Anahita is another goddess that I work with from time to time, but Hecate is my main one.
And what kind of relationship do you have with Hakate? Is it like how do you connect with the spirit of Hakate, or the mothership of Hakate? How do you connect with that?
Um, well, she chooses you. You do not choose her. She is very particular. She will choose her priestesses based off of any type of life that they've gone through, tribulation, struggles, to where they haven't collapsed and fallen and been broken by society. Oh, thank you, Shunday. Um, but for me, I connected to her when I lived in Puerto Rico, and I was just that was really when I was my first connection was when I was dealing with some identity theft. Um, and I just really started to feel that rage, but I went through it. And then she called to me when I was doing my training with my former spiritual teacher. And I can say the biggest thing that really told me it was her is I was asleep one night, probably astral traveling, and I was in this castle, very rich castle, being held captive. And all I knew is I didn't belong there. And all of a sudden, I hear Darcy jump out of the window, but she actually had used a name that was given to me centuries ago from a different time in my life. So it was my secret name. And she said, just jump out of the window and trust me. I had no clue it was her at the time. So I jumped out of the window, and the next thing I know, I'm landing on a black dog. And then I'm picked up and put into a chariot by this beautiful liminal goddess and being carried off to safety into the middle of a forest where there was a cabin with a high priestess there waiting for me, which later I found out through working with my spiritual teacher at the time that I had that it was her. And at that point is really when I started working a lot with Hecate, when I started to understand those visions. And just there's also, she's talked about in Dion Fortune's book on psychic self defense, that to be initiated to Hecate, you have to be pure of heart and wanting to use your magic pure of heart, because she actually can be one of the ones when you go into an initiation and you're not clean, you're not pure of mind, that she can drive you to insanity. But she's a beautiful goddess. She is the goddess of the underworld, of the darkness. But what a lot of people don't get or understand about her is, yes, she is the goddess of the darkness, but she's not, she's always going to let you see what's in the dark. She's not going to let you be blind in the dark. And it's to make you feel comfortable in the dark. So it's hard to explain. I mean, you have to have a relationship with her to really understand it.
We talked earlier about the witch's pyramid and how uh, this generation of practitioners or people who live the craft forgot about these type of teachings. What other kind of rhetoric or lessons um, do you think is missing that needs to be brought forward in contemporary witchcraft?
Um, Integrity, definitely integrity, ethics. Um, I think also people need to understand the celestials. They need to understand astrology, astronomy, the planets. They need to really understand what a true initiation is. If you've read Eliphas Levi's book on history of magic, have you read the book? Are you familiar with that work?
Yes.
Okay, so in that book, one thing that I know is missing, it's the 40-day path of the initiate. And it's where the initiate goes out and has to have just one person with them, the one person that they trust with their soul. And they're going on that 40-day journey. And if I remember right, it was Giordano Bruno who had gone on that journey and brought somebody with him. And you have to go through that journey to where you're fasting for those 40 days. You're only allowed to eat certain things. And I think that is something hugely missing, is really understanding what initiation is. Initiation is a purification of the soul, a purification of the mind. It's the experiences that you have to go through, but knowing that you can only trust one soul during that journey, during that path. Astrology is a huge one. One thing that I do a lot in my magic is I work with astrological talismans. So I do a lot of astrological talisman and magic work. And really understanding the sigils, the ancient sigils that the magicians used. Um, Knowing the names of the spirits as well as the demons, because you're commanding your magic with both sides. Knowing the sigils and the Enochian magic, knowing the angelic, understanding the magic of the angels. I think a lot of those things are missing in today's contemporary. I was in Powell's book maybe a year ago because I was looking for some books to kind of help me with one of the workshops I was getting ready for WitchCon. And I noticed there was probably like just a handful of books of the Middle Ages, of the more older works. And I'm seeing all this new stuff, and it's just like, what is this? It's a five-year-old witch is writing a book proclaiming to be a witch. No, you're not a witch. You have to study and practice for years and years and years. And this girl grabs a book. Oh, okay, I grabbed this book. Oh, okay, I'm a witch. It's just sitting here like, let me not laugh so hard. Just really understanding that you need to know the history of magic. A lot of people don't study the history of magic. They don't study psychic self-defense. They don't study the astrology, the sigils, and those are really important things in practicing the craft of the old ways.
Very, very well said. And I'm glad that we had this time to discuss your path and your presentations that are going to be happening on WitchCon, and also presentations you've already had. If you're tuning in, make sure you sign up for WitchCon for February 20th to the 23rd. And Darci Vélez will be presenting this year. And also make sure you keep it right here on witchcrafttv.online for the WitchCon Presenters Series. Many more great guests to come up. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for new seekers of the path, or new witchlings, so to speak?
Don't rush. Yes, it's a journey, and it's something that may come across as a trend or something exciting, but magic isn't a game. Magic is real. So take the time to learn how to protect yourself before getting into anything. Take the time to learn the history and learn everything you can. Don't just grab a book and do a spell. Understand what the consequences behind that spell are, because you can throw a spell out there, but if you don't know the consequences or the reason why or how to dispose of it, you will cause a lot of problems, and it makes for a lot of cleanup for the witches that have been practicing for a long time. So just take your time. Allow the gods to find you. Allow your spirit to find that right teacher. When the student is ready, the teacher will arrive.
Thank you so much. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
I'll see you at WitchCon.
Yes, you will. And thank you so much, Harold. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful weekend.